Alright, so I'm going to show you how to do the I-cord edge around the neckline. Here's the front of the shirt. So we are going to go to the center back, and you can see that I've already marked it. So we're going to flip to that, and then let me show you the needles we're going to use. So I'm knitting the body on a 5.5 millimeter needle, or a US 9, which means for the I-cord Bindoff, I'm going to want a size down from that, which is a US 8 or 5 millimeter needle. So ideally, if you have a set of DPNs or double pointed needles that are in the size that you need, that would be the best fit for this. I don't, so instead I have my regular and my shorties on the shortest cords that I have, and I'm just going to use these as my double pointed needles for the I-cord Bindoff for the neckline. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cast on 3 stitches. So we've got our yarn, our tail, and we're just going to loop and around and back through. You can also just do a slip knot and cast on more. I just prefer doing it that way. And then we will cast on one more. Okay, so now we have our 3 stitches. I've actually found that it's easier to go into the space next to my stitch instead of the stitch itself. So I have the marker on the stitch, so I'm going to go right next to it right there. So I'm going to take my needle with the 3 stitches on it and go right into that spot. Then I'm going to take the yarn connected to my ball of yarn, and I'm going to wrap it around and bring it up through. Okay, so now you'll notice I have 4 stitches. So I'm going to, be easier if I had DPNs, I'm going to slip it to the other side of the needle. And then I'm going to take my other cord and I'm going to knit the first stitch. I'm going to knit the second stitch. And then I'm going to knit the next 2 stitches together. So for that, you're going to put your needle in as if to purl, bring it through the back, wrap it around, and knit them together. So now you have 3 stitches again. So I'm going to pick up my next stitch. So you can see we're there. So I'm going to go into this spot here and pick up my next, if I can wrap it, pick up my next stitch. And then I will just I will keep repeating that all the way around. So I'll show you again. So we're going to slip it to the other end of our needle. Again, I should really get some DPNs for this because that would make this definitely faster, but this is what I have and we're working with what we got. So we are going to knit the first stitch, we're going to knit the second stitch, and then we're going to knit these together. So we're going to go through that and knit them together. Come back up through, together, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going around and I will keep showing you updates. So I've made it along the first half of the top back, and now I'm going to pick up around the shoulder, and I think I'm going to do 3 stitches around the shoulder here to get over to this stitch here that I need to pick up. Pick up that one. We're going to take it to the other end of our needle. These are a little tight on my needles here. Grab the yarn. Going to knit, knit, and then knit 2 together. And now pick up, between those two. You kind of just want to check and see if you're creating any holes. So you see how picking up that one, I kind of get a decent hole. So I'm not going to go through there, but maybe through there. Yeah, that'll be better. We are going to knit, knit, and then knit these two together. And then we'll come over here, and we're wanting to get into this space. So we will pick that up. All right, I will come back in a minute. All right, so as you can see, we have made it to our last stitch. We've got 3 stitches on the needle. At this point, we're going to cut our yarn with just a little bit of a tail, and then we will weave in the last 3 stitches. We're going to grab a darning needle to do that. All right, so our yarn is coming from this very first stitch here, and we want to take it to the back of our work. So we are going to take it and just go underneath and through the back. And then on this guy, we're going to slip these stitches to the other end of the needle, because we're going to work them off the stitch from right to left. So we're going to go in through purlwise on this stitch, take it off the needle. Oh, I just had a cherry problem. Okay, so we can come through that stitch. And now up here, we're going to find the first V on the inside. So we're going to grab here and there. Okay, so we're going to go through that V. That's our end. Through that V and then back through the front of the stitch that we just came from. You can kind of see there. How that's starting to look. Okay, so now we're going to do that again with this stitch. So we're going to go in purlwise and take it off. And we're going to find the next V. So let's come through. Find the V. Through, and then back through the front of that stitch. Kind of see how we're looking, and you can kind of tug and pull and adjust your stitches as we go, just to kind of get things to just line up pretty nice and neat. And we're gonna do that with our final stitch, and then we'll be done. All right, so back through. And come through this guy and through. Okay, so we've come through the last one there. Sorry, that cut off. And then we're going to go through this final V under both legs, back through, and then back through the front. Okay, so you can see I need to go back through and even up some of my stitches, but you can just take this tail and weave it into the back of your work, and you'll be all good to go with a seamless I-cord edge. That's where we are.